Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first episode of the CGPA podcast. Today we have a guest who is a senior in my college. I would call him a college polymath and somebody who I can go for advice whenever I want to. And he is the founder of Travelsey, which is a company which is doing great in the field of immersion programs for students. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have with us Tunap Paul. So hi Tunap, how are you?
Hi Vinayak, I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for having me for this podcast. I feel very honored to be among your first guests in this podcast. So I'll start off with my introduction. I'm Tunap Paul. I'm a final year engineering computer science student pursuing at Bennett University. So I'm the founder of Travelsey. So Travelsey is we have a tagline called "Where Learning Meets Travel." So we do short immersion programs to international destinations for graduates who are upcoming professionals of our world to provide them with international exposure to turn them into global citizens of tomorrow. So when I came to Bennett University, so I got associated with our startup incubator. So our university specializes in that. So it has an
Yeah.
in-house startup incubator. So I was always fascinated by the idea of entrepreneurship, but never actually understood or immersed myself fully into it. So when I interacted with some of the mentors from our university, startup mentors, so I actually got to know a little bit more what actually entrepreneurship means. And it's not just about starting your own business, but it's mostly a mindset to have that entrepreneurship
Right.
mindset. So when I
So,
spoke to specifically, I actually approached Manish Mathur, who is the senior manager of the Bennett Hatchery. He was the one who actually pushed me to explore my potential because initially I was very introverted. So I used to talk less, very shy at actually interacting with people. He pushed me to actually pursue my idea.
How do you come up how do you come up with ideas? Like, people have this question in mind that, if they want to start something on their own, then how do they, of course it's something that comes on its own, right? Like, it just strikes you, but then, what kind of environment that you were probably in, or what were you thinking about that, that idea came to you? Like, how does it work?
Right. So, so the thing is, ideas may originate from originate in different people in different ways. In my case, it happened is it originated from my own experiences and my own perceptions of those experiences. So I actually started freelancing and for example, there were very few payment. I mean, people mostly we do freelancing for foreign clients, right? So foreign clients make
oh,
yeah. So people find it harder to pay
oh,
Indians because there were very few payment methods available to Indians to accept money from them. So I found out there was a currency called Bitcoin. Then I started exploring that. So that was my experience that actually exchanging bitcoins to real money that is fiat Indian rupees, because ultimately you have got to cash out, right? So
yeah, yeah.
whenever you receive bitcoin, so that was a
Was it
problem in India.
before the boom or after the boom?
It was
You,
before the boom, actually, right
oh,
before the boom.
okay.
I actually
Wow.
got to know about bitcoins in 2012, so that was long back.
So that's the
Yeah.
How
thing.
young were
So,
you?
it's important to get into new experiences to get these ideas, right? Isn't it?
Exactly, exactly. So you need to prepare yourself to be in that position to receive those opportunities, which turn into experiences. So,
Yeah.
I believe that people should be able to grow themselves, put themselves into that position that other people would notice and give you opportunities. And those opportunities in the future gradually turn into experiences. believe that, and those experiences and those perceptions you build, and then you find problems are the key to ideas, solving idea, because ideas for a startup are a solution to some problems, right? So
Yeah.
whenever you experience, you must find some problems. So that's how I guess ideas generate. So that's how it
Ideas.
happened with me as well.
And how did you come up with Travelsey then?
Right. So after I came to Bennett, being associated with the incubator, I got into some competitions. So my first competition was the Hult Prize. So we had in campus round. The Hult Prize is known as the Nobel Prize for students. So we had to come up with the social impact idea. So the theme for that year was energy generation for 10 million people. So I teamed up with three other people who were also associated with the hatchery, Bennett Hatchery. So we happened to win the on-campus round and went on to the second round, which was held in Dubai. So for Dubai, we had to actually work hard, build the prototype for our idea, actually get the college to sponsor us even to, because it was a huge cost going to Dubai for four of us. Then
Right.
ultimately we were able to get some considerable amount of sponsorship that made it happen. Anyways, then we went on to Dubai. So that was a very huge experience for all of us, because it was when you present your idea, something of your own, in a world stage among people from all around the world. So it's a huge experience that it's something which cannot be explained. When you stand in front of those people who you know are like very established in their own industries,
Yeah.
and present them your own idea, that fear of rejection, that fear of speaking out, it's like very different, and it's like life changing in a way. Anyways, that Dubai happened, and we couldn't actually qualify for the next round, but the experience in itself was very positive. And after coming back, so we had a similar opportunity. I basically had a similar opportunity to go to Egypt, in Cairo, Egypt, to actually be in another competition. It was a business case competition. So people, colleges from around the world participate in that competition to come up with a business strategy for a startup based in Cairo. So that was another experience which actually changed my mindset and perception about how startups in other countries work. Because, for example, Cairo is much more underdeveloped than India is, right? And there, the experience of a startup, an entrepreneur, is very different to one in India. So that was kind of eye-opening for us. And actually finding a strategy that would work in for a startup in Egypt was that posed difficulty, because we had to be dynamic in our thinking.
Right.
So, right. So after coming back from Egypt, so I thought to myself, these opportunities, which I was very fortunate to get because I was associated with the Bennett Hatchery, that these opportunities are very hard to come by for an average student, college going student.
Yeah.
But in the same way, these opportunities are so critical to the development of an individual that these should be commonplace. Like having the international exposure, getting to meet other people, immerse themselves into a culture of a different country. Because when we become a professional, we always have to deal with people from other cultures. Even in India, we have so many diverse cultures, right? And
Right.
we have teammates working in different time zones as well. So
Yes.
being able to handle that requires a bit of preparation and a mindset. So, and these international trips to different countries and being participating in these competitions help quite a lot to build that mindset. So that's how the idea of Travelsey came, because I realized universities in India basically
Yeah.
do not have appropriate opportunities for students like us, average students, university going students, to provide that international exposure, to build that mindset through these short immersion programs.
So you got the idea. So
Yes.
what's next after that?
Right, I got the idea. The first thing is actually validating it, because the thing is, whenever we get ideas, we get ecstatic about it. We feel very euphoric, because sometimes we find a solution to a problem we face, right? And
Hmm.
that creates bias in a way,
Yeah.
because those are shaped by our own experiences, by our own perceptions.
You should really tell us about how you found a team for yourself, because it's hard for someone to start up alone, but if you can find someone who thinks alike, then the journey might become more enjoyable. And
Yeah, that's the thing. So, I mean, right now I do not have actually a co-founder to help me, but being associated with the Planet Hatchery actually, like, I, I mean, added a substitute to being a
right.
co-founder, basically,
Yeah.
can say.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So the
they're really
mentors
supportive.
may
Yeah.
not be my co-founder. Yeah, they actually guided me so much well, because they have been founders in their own startups. So they are dedicating their own time and their own experience to my own startup. That actually was more valuable in a way.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So, but
So
I'd say,
so let
right,
me just come to this really important question. So people, when they think about startups, like, of course, nowadays news really romanticizes the journey of startups and all, and how it's like, whoa, if
exactly.
you become successful, you'll become a billionaire and all. We all know that startups have a really high rate of failure. So plus
Yeah,
the thing is, it's a risky venture. It is supposed to be risky. So uh, if you're in college, then how did you personally manage your health, your personal relationships, and your time, and your college work?
okay.
How did you manage that?
Yeah, I'll start with the risk. Why? I mean, it's worth the risk basically for us college students. Why it's like very easy for us to start off with a startup at this age and at this time, because I believe in failing fast. So whenever you try and fail fast, you have room to grow. Because, for example, right now we are a college student. Most of us, our parents are sponsoring our education, right? We do not have any
Hmm.
financial burden on us,
Yeah.
and yeah, nobody. We do not actually have to care. I mean, like financially provide financial care to someone else. So we actually have it on us to go and explore on our own. So for example, we start our own startup. The university and our parents are providing that safe environment to fail. So that's very important for an entrepreneur. That's I believe that was my mindset basically, that I have this environment to fail safely, because third, I mean, when you fall down, you have that third, right, and you hurt yourself. But when you're in college and you start your own startup, when you fall down, you will not actually hurt yourself. You can just brush yourself up, get up, and start again, because
Yeah.
you have that time and that environment. And managing, so most people say that college is the best time to actually enjoy. It's the best time, because afterwards you do not have that good of friends, that time, that free will to enjoy yourself. That's definitely true. And like having a startup will actually cut off your that free time to enjoy from your friends, and managing is
Yeah, that's the
difficult.
harsh
Is
reality.
Yeah, yeah, that's the harsh reality.
Yeah.
But I guess if you are able to manage the balance everything, so it all depends upon you. So if you have the right mindset, I'd say, I mean, I always come back to this, the mindset thing. So whenever you have your mindset that you will be able to balance, because I always believe in this equilibrium and balance thing. So whenever like if you are optimistic and have this mindset of balancing things, then you will be able to balance and take out time for your friends as well, go out, enjoy, and academics as well. Like you can perform well. But the thing is, with balance, you cannot do best at any one of them. So sometimes you will have to make compromises.
Yeah.
So having the when, for example, when there's a time of conflict, for example, in a startup, you might have meetings, meet important people, and you have to meet them at their own time, not your own time. And
Yeah.
you even have an exam or classes at that same time. So having those priorities straight, for example, whenever you come upon those times of conflict, what will you choose to compromise and then choose the other one? So that is something you have to have like in your mind always, having the priorities straight, the startup or your academics.
Yep. People have misconceptions about, that it's gonna be like a cakewalk, and we'll come out successful with the flying colors. But it's a tough journey, and you have to make a
Right,
lot of
it
sacrifices.
definitely is a tough journey, and I mean, most of us have heard this saying that like enjoy the journey, don't worry about the destination.
Right.
Because even in entrepreneurship, it is the same thing.
It's
Like
everywhere,
just enjoy
actually.
the journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's everywhere. Just enjoy the journey. I mean, you start and like whenever you come across a hurdle, and whenever you overcome the hurdle, that feeling, that the thrilling feeling of excitement is just unexplainable.
Right.
So that's something,
Hmm.
I mean, the entrepreneurs should strive for, I believe.
Yeah.
Just that overcoming the
Yeah,
hurdles.
bro. Yeah. So, bro, one thing I want to ask you was,
Right.
entrepreneurship around us is everywhere. It's in the pop culture. There are a lot of shows about it. There are a lot of
Yes.
films about it, and a lot of speeches about it. Millions of TED talks about it. What is the one thing which people who are not entrepreneurs do not usually know? Like, what's the thing you got to know after you started the business? The one basic thing.
Right. So I actually used to see, I was surrounded by entrepreneurs before even I started my journey. So I used to see them and tried to observe and learn. So, but the only thing I learned actually after taking the plunge is when you are at the helm. I mean, at the control of everything. Because when you're a founder, so whenever it's a decision to make, you have to take the decision. Yeah, whatever you say that would happen, that you have the final say and the impact of it, right? Because you never know what impact your decision might have. So
Yeah.
having that stress of making the final say and even dealing with those consequences is a huge thing. So that's something I never understood. I mean, before becoming the entrepreneur myself, because I had to make a few tough decisions, which ultimately I had to deal with the consequences, and those were very stressful times. Those were very stressful times. So that's something I did not actually understand before becoming an entrepreneur.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, from tough decisions, I'm reminded of the Spain story you told me once. You told us
Yeah, exactly.
about.
That was that experience. So Spain was my second trip of Travelsey. So we started off registrations during December, and we happened to get around 15 students registered for the Spain trip. Then afterwards, people got to know. We saw how Spain turned into a pandemic. I mean, the how people were affected in those areas, like widespread infections in that area.
That would have been such a
So
smack to your startup, because like you were like on your first on your second trip, and you were
exactly.
really
So
young. You were a
it was
really young company.
mostly a smack, you can say, yeah.
Yeah,
So it was right across the face, uh, because I don't know it was coincidence or not. Like we were the hardest hit industry in
yeah,
this whole pandemic. So, anyways, we started off. Then one by one, people, the students actually started backing off for the trip because their parents were obviously very, very worried what would happen, because parents are naturally worried that something is not like just justify, because they would be worried, because my parents as well, because I'm a student as well. I'm of the same age as they are, of
yeah,
similar age as they are. So even like convincing my parents to let me go there was a big thing in itself anyways. But since it was my company and it was a question of survival, I'd say. So we had to decide if we would actually take the trip, because all the bookings were made, and all the bookings were non-refundable, because our during the dealings with our partners, all the bookings were made as non-refundable, and even during the pandemic, they wouldn't actually refund any of the bookings. So that was something we had to take in mind before actually canceling the whole trip. Then I spoke with my mentors, and they recommended that I should take a vote from these participants, actually, the students, if they're willing to take the risk and go. And if it is above like 50% of students, then we'll go. Take all the precautions against the risks and we'll go. And afterwards, just before the day of the trip, we had around 8 students going, 10 students going.
so
But
5 had
on the
backed out.
night, yes, 5 had backed out. Uh, actually, 7 had backed out.
So what about the
15
bookings and
students.
all for them? What happened to those?
So
Did you lose money?
during right, so we lost money as well, and during the voting, we had actually made them sign an undertaking that if they cancel their trip, so they would actually be liable for losing any money they paid, because we weren't sure how much money we would be able to get
Yeah,
back from our
right.
partners, because every partner had a different refundable policy. Mostly they were non-refundable, but at least the flights, our flight partner was actually lenient enough to give us most of our money back. So we actually tried to negotiate well, and whatever we came up with, we were able to give back the amount to the cancellations, the students who canceled. So it was actually a tough decision, because you have that pressure, because parents say it's a global pandemic, they want the whole money back. But as a
Yeah,
startup, we cannot afford to give that out of our own pocket. Like if we
yeah,
were a big company, that I could understand, since we have cash in hand, reserve cash to actually justify giving the cash from our own pockets to those parents. But we were just a nascent startup. We couldn't afford doing that. So we had to depend upon the money that came back from our partners to actually give back that money only. So that was a tough decision. So since we had 8 students, actually 5 students canceled, but on the night, uh, the day before the journey, on the night, 2 other students had canceled, and
oh,
I was actually on call with Manish sir, I remember, and then Vinod sir was there as well. I was actually talking to them, and parents were non-stop calling us what to do. I mean, are you canceling the trip, because so less students are going? And Manish sir said, it's up to you. I mean, it's your final call. What do you want to do? I was completely puzzled, and I'd say I mean, I just thought that, okay, I can take the risk. And since some students were very supportive as well. I won't say like
And
all of
at
the
that
students were
time, nobody
demotivating.
knew also, right, that Corona doesn't affect young people that bad, People didn't even know about that because it
No,
was so
exactly.
new.
There was not much knowledge around the virus. That was much more, I think, more scary for the parents as well,
Yeah,
I guess.
exactly. Knowledge wasn't there.
So it was so like puzzling, so many variables. So like some students, like some parents of the students were supportive, very supportive. So I thought over it and just like I think I'm very decisive at in a way. I have this trait of being very decisive. So I can
Was
decide very
that something
quickly.
that you always were,
Uh,
or you became that as you went by?
I think I grew that trait while being in college
Yeah,
through my experiences.
right.
So like
I wasn't
entrepreneurship
always like
probably
this.
makes you decisive,
And
right? Like
braver,
Yes,
starting a
yes,
business.
yeah.
even braver, right?
I wasn't
Because
like this because, yeah, because having that confidence to decide and deal with the consequences afterwards, I think it's tough because initially I remember I didn't have that confidence to actually decide. I left it upon other people. But for example, when you're running a startup and you're the only
you're your own
founder,
man.
you have to decide. Yes, I'm my own man, and then afterwards, whatever happens, I have to deal with that as well. So
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
even then, I'm my own man.
Yeah.
Because
So
one
I
one
just
thing that there is in startup, I heard this in the Ranveer Show's podcast with Ayush Jaiswal,
yeah,
and Ayush Jaiswal said this thing: when you have a startup, you don't have people feel like there is no boss above you, but you actually have multiple bosses. You have your clients, you have your
exactly.
partners, people working under you.
That's kind of a myth or maybe a dilemma or irony, whatever you can say, because people say whenever you have your own startup, you become your own boss. But that's not actually true because you serve your customers, right? They pay you
Yeah.
money
Mhm.
for the services and
Yeah,
products
it's
you
not
sell
that
to them.
simple.
They they become your bosses in a way,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So what
So
happened next? Did you like actually go through with Spain? What happened next?
So exactly. So next, my sir told me it's your call, whatever you want to do. I said, whatever, happens right now. I have 8 students with me. I'll go. Say it's like I just said I'll go. Okay. And then he said, all right, then we'll make
ये
it
तो
happen
मूवी का
because
सीन हो गया
Manisha
होगा
was
ना.
the one. Yeah, well, looking back, hindsight, I think it was because, like, I remember the timing and it was so vivid that I just said, "I'll go. Whatever happens, I'll go. Then I'll deal with whatever happens afterwards." So he said, "All right." And since he was the faculty member, so in all of our trips, we actually have an accompanying faculty member from the college. So he can take the responsibility of the students, be coordinating with the parents as well. So he had a huge responsibility. He actually supported me. Without him supporting me throughout the Spain like experience, it wouldn't have been possible, I believe. So he was there all throughout. That was a huge help. Then we decided next day. So the thing was, I wasn't supposed to go to Spain initially, but I think like 2 weeks before, I just decided to go with the students to actually because it made more sense for me to go because it would have been very unfair to the students if I didn't go and just send them.
Yeah.
So I decided to go myself as well, and due to that my bookings were made separately, and I had a different flight. So my flight was around 7 8 earliers from the group booking we made. So my flight was at 2 p.m. From the Delhi airport, and I was to reach Madrid a day before all of them, and I would be completely alone in a foreign country affected with the coronavirus. So that was kind of scary.
It was scary.
And my parents also freaked out because I had never been alone like that. I mean, it's kind of like, I even think it was kind of very risky for me, but
Yeah.
I just thought of Travelsey. I don't know it was a huge risk or not, but I just thought to myself, whatever happens, I have to do it. I mean, I have to take the responsibility because there is no one else. I started the company, I have to do it. That was my mindset. So I went to Spain. I mean, I took the flight. I then went to Madrid. And the surprising thing was, it was a normal day in Madrid. I mean, all the people roaming around, enjoying themselves, and none of them were wearing a mask.
Which
Just
makes it
imagine that.
They
scarier.
didn't know what was
Yeah.
gonna hit them then, nah.
Exactly.
Nobody knew.
I just say to people, I've been there just before the lockdown happened in Spain. I know what was going on, and it kind of serves them right. I mean, like in a moral sense, probably not. But I mean, they could have taken the precautions, and I'm glad that India took those precautions, learning from them. And anyways, I mean, like it was a normal day. But if I think in another sense, if that wouldn't have been the case in Spain, I wouldn't have been able to complete the trip successfully. So
Yeah.
there's that
So that
argument
worked
as
out
well.
well for you in a way. Spain's
Yeah,
careless.
yeah.
Right, right. So yeah, so the Spain was careless, and that was fuel kind of to our like a support. I mean, that supported us throughout the trip. So we were able to, I mean, complete the whole trip without any hiccups from then. Just the usual kinks. I mean, you have to deal with students, manage them. So there were the usual kinks. That's all. I mean, just that we were supposed to return from Barcelona, and the day on which we were about to return, that day, Barcelona actually was about to close down. Okay, and India was barring any passengers who were coming from Spain and putting them into compulsory government quarantine. So we had to
So
decide
this
what
is
to
a
do. Yes. So what we did is we called the airline partner, which was Emirates, and told them this is the situation. What do we do? And they actually graciously said we can prepone your flight. So we preponed our flight to the 14th of March, and yeah, it went well. I mean, everybody came back unaffected afterwards as well, and everybody was safely back. So they were put into self-imposed self-quarantine. That's all. I mean, people were in
Wow.
quarantine in their own homes, so that was good.
Yeah.
And the thing, what happened with me is, since initially I said right, I had to make separate bookings for just myself. So the bookings, I mean, the prepone, the flights were sorted for the group and Manish sir, but I was kind of left alone because my booking was separate. Okay. And the
So
booking
the
I had
startup
made
comes
to
first,
return
founder
from.
comes later.
Yes, yes, that's yeah, that's the case. I mean, I have to make sure everybody's safe. Then afterwards, I can think of myself. My booking was the flight was through Rome actually. Okay, Italy, and Italy was the worst hit in
Yeah.
all of the
Oh
like
yeah, they had
world
a bad time.
then.
They had a
Yeah,
bad time.
yeah, I remember you telling me in the campus कि अगर कोरोना वायरस होता है मैं ही लाऊंगा stuff
एग्जैक्टली
like
सो अगर होता है तो मैं कैंपस में मैं ही लाऊंगा क्योंकि मैं रूम से होके आ रहा था so that was kind of always in my head that what will I do since my flight had a layover in Italy and I think I was actually trying to avoid that and booking another flight. So I tried to call them up, but their call centers were overloaded. They weren't picking up the call, or it was getting disconnected. So just I think 2 3 days before, I got connected, and they said that all their flights were cancelled indefinitely. So that was good in a way. I got my money back. So I booked another flight that was through Helsinki, uh,
Mm.
Finland,
Yeah, Finland.
and I booked that flight with the money I got back. And anyways, even so, the next day morning, I wake up to an email saying that even that flight is cancelled indefinitely.
You.
Yeah. So, anyways, I mean, okay. So even they were canceling all their flights to India from Spain because of the obviously the pandemic, and they said I have an option to prepone the flight. So since I saw that the other students flying via Emirates were able to prepone, I also preponed my flight, and they let me prepone the flight, and I actually came back on the flight, which was the last to, uh, I mean, come back from Europe to India, and even all the the flight crew was returning on the same flight. So I mean, everybody was
Okay.
fleeing Spain on that flight. Anyways, the flight I came via.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're like the air hostess came and sat beside you,
No, so obviously they get special treatment, right? So all the first class was, I mean, filled with them.
Mm.
So nobody, no civilians got first class. All the first class members were the crew members.
Nice.
That's all.
basically.
Yeah.
Right.
So what's up with Travelsey
Wow.
now?
Yes. Right now, after coming back home, I actually quarantined myself as well for 14 days. Because afterwards, dealing with the fact that what would I do? That took a time. That took some time. Like because I had so much plans for Travelsey for this year, for this summer as well.
Yeah,
So many trips I had
that
planned.
would have hurt, right?
Yeah,
Because summer is the peak
that
time.
hurt. Yeah, exactly. That hurt badly because I just registered my company, started off with 2 trips, and then this happened. And there's literally no way I could actually go along with my plans, whatever I
Yeah.
did to tweak them, because travel was a complete no go. So I actually had kind of a crisis, I'd say, during that time. Uh, I had to cope with that on my own. Obviously, parents supported. So I went through a crisis. I mean, like existential crisis, you can say. I mean, most students go through that. I wasn't sure whenever, I mean, if I can actually continue with Travelsey or what I would do with my life, basically.
Yeah,
So
when you keep in your head, then things start to burst inside. They
and
actually
yeah,
seem much
initially I
bigger
thought
than they
this.
are.
Yeah, I mean, you cannot avoid that thing. I mean, when you understand, I mean, the gravity of such things, then you actually go through those crises
Yeah.
often. So, anyways, like uh, initially, I thought this lockdown was a kind of uh, boon, I can say. I mean, a gift that I can actually figure out introspect on my past. But later on, it gets to you. I mean, being on your own all the time, because you talk to friends, but it's not the same as being meeting in person.
Yeah.
And
True.
I can relate. I mean, we were in hostel. It was a complete different scenario. I mean, I guess if I would have been hostel, I could have coped up sooner and better. But being alone,
Yeah, I think
I
everyone is
think it
realizing that.
hit harder. Yeah, I mean, exactly. So, I mean, I tried to cope myself that this is a gift. I should make the most myself, most of it, prepare myself. But somehow, sooner or later, it got to me. Then, anyways, right now am actually I we are for Travelsey. I started preparing it for a new offering. So I started developing a virtual reality kind of tours. So deliver a similar experience of those immersion programs through a virtual reality medium.
Hmm.
So during the lockdown, I refined my skills. So I learned a few things. So leveraging those skills, I came up with this idea since like I want to keep this dream alive. I mean, travel, you cannot kill travel, the dream of travel in anyone. I mean, you just itch to travel. I mean, go out and explore.
Yeah, we can feel
That's
it
in
now.
everybody.
Yeah.
Exactly. But so I thought, what's best as an alternative to provide that experience, being at home, to provide that escape in a way. So I'm a tech enthusiast. So I already had a virtual reality headset. I used to like play with it, watch videos, and play games on it. But then the idea struck that why couldn't I actually provide the same experience? I mean, a similar experience, the virtual experience of traveling to an international destination through those 360-degree videos and images to other people who may not know what virtual reality is or how to experience those. So that's what I'm coming up. It will be a non-revenue. I mean, we won't make any revenue from it, but we want to actually that provide some kind of offering, some kind of escape to our potential audience. That's what I'm thinking for Travelsey right now. And on the personal front, I'm just preparing myself with skills, gaining new skills, refining my existing skills to be able to uh, take Travelsey to like greater heights when the thing normalizes, the situation normalizes.
So we do the best we can with what we got, right?
What we
What we
got.
got exactly.
Yeah,
And yeah,
that's important. Yeah. So I
and
think we've had a good conversation here. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I learned a lot from it.
yeah, I think this was a great experience with you, man. Like, yeah, we really wanted to know your story, and it
welcome.
was amazing. We got to know more about you. So I think that's going to be the end of the first episode of the CGPA podcast.
Yeah, yeah. Before we end, do you have
Right.
any advice for
Yeah,
our watchers and for us,
any
for
message?
students who are
Yeah.
starting out college or are in college?
Yeah,
So the thing my parents always taught me is that don't indulge yourself in instant gratification. Always strive to have delayed gratification. That's
yeah,
what I think
that's really
most
important.
parents should teach their like children, because we get stuck in that cycle of instant gratification. We want instant gratification, instant outcome, and instant pleasure in a way. So I think we should always strive for delayed gratification. Do our work, and even for example, I think as children we would remember when we used to have the cream biscuits, right? We used to keep the cream side for a later treat. We
Yeah.
used to break the
Hmm.
biscuits into halves and eat the biscuit without cream first and with cream second. So that's
Yeah.
like the simplest way to explain delayed
Yeah.
gratification. Thank you so much. Same to you.
यार पापा पॉडकास्ट चल रही है
अरे
ये वो
यार
टेक्निक
पापा आ
चल
This
गए
will
रही
be
है
the
क्या
last
वापस
scene.
एक बार कॉल करके आपने
चलो चलो बंद
ये
करो बाय बाय
एक्स्ट्रा होनी चाहिए ये इसकी